Hey, what's up, guys? This is Mark at Sound Theory Studio, and haven't done a video in a long time. Sorry about that. Just been very busy with students and everything. But I've been getting a few questions on my alternate picking video, and they're all pretty similar. It's mostly just variations of people asking, when do you alternate pick exactly? And they'll give examples like, if I'm playing 3 notes per string, do I alternate pick? When should I use it? When should I not use it? Things like that. So I wanted to see if I could just do a short little video here and answer some of these questions. The basic answer to this is you use alternate picking like 95% of the time, I guess, roughly. I mean, it's pretty much all the time for me anyway. I'm not sure there's going to be a right or wrong answer to this, but what I will say is that alternate picking should be used on almost everything you do, even in situations where you may not initially think that you should. And what I mean by that is, let's look at 3 note per string, okay? So I'll move this here a little bit, okay. So let's say we're going to play a scale that's just 3 notes per string. I'll just take the major scale in position 1 on C major. So that looks like this, if you know your scale positions. Okay, but whether you know that position or not, really the main point is it's 3 notes per string. Now, I have a lot of students, and some of you on YouTube say, do you alternate pick that? Because it seems like it would be challenging to alternate pick that, at first anyway. And the answer is yes, you would. I understand why you may not think you would, though, because it seems to make sense to go down, up, down, which would basically be like economy picking. But you don't want to do that. And the example I give my students, maybe it's a strange example, but it seems to work well to describe how I feel about it, is if we were robots, cyborgs or whatever, it would make sense to play that way, because thinking strictly logically, you would have the pick travel in the direction of the next note you want to hit, right? So in that example, down, up, down, the next string below is another downstroke, so why not do 2 downstrokes in a row? Well, I think that would make sense if we were robots. But we're not robots, we're people. And you don't want to have to analyze your picking every time you play something to figure out what is the closest or what pick stroke would be in the direction of the next note. Because if you play something complicated, it's almost like you'd have to sit there and think about what are you going to do with your pick. It's like, okay, I'm going to go down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down. It's not a constant rhythm. Like I would think you'd have to plan that, or at least I would. I don't think I could just naturally make myself play that way without making mistakes. But if you alternate pick the whole thing no matter what happens, now I don't have to think about it. Now it's just down, up, 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 no matter what I'm doing. That rhythm is always the same. And the beautiful thing about that is it means I don't have to think about my right hand at all anymore, because I know what it's going to do. It's just alternate picking everything. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, right? Now the challenge there, of course, is when you alternate pick everything without a break in that rhythm of down, up, down, up, what happens is you end up having a lot of outside picking, which I've talked about in many other videos. And outside picking can be challenging for some people, and inside picking can be challenging too. That's a barrier that you have to break to get your alternate picking really good. And there's really no way to break it other than just hours and hours of practice. That's just all there is to it. There's no secret. There's no little way to hold the pick I can show you to where it's like, oh, now I can do it. It's so easy. It's not like that. It's practice, practice, practice for hours and hours and hours, as often as you can. What I can tell you is that it's so worth it, because once you get your right hand to where you're in that constant motion of down, up, down, up, down, up, and you don't have to think about it anymore, you can really go fast at that point. I mean, really fast, because you can just try it for yourself. Just take one note, any note, and just play it going nothing but alternate picking. I think just about anyone watching this, if they're just doing that on one note, they can make it pretty fast. I mean, because it's easy if it's one note. And the reason you can play it so quickly is because you don't have to think about your right hand, right? It's just down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, right? It's just that rhythm. You don't think about it. You can just do it really fast. Now imagine being able to do that with accuracy and precision over a bunch of different notes. Now you're talking, serious speed when you need to be able to play fast, and it won't be an issue. So that's the case I make for alternate picking. Now, there are a handful of guitarists that are really good at economy picking everything, so I'm not going to tell you that that's wrong. But I will tell you that it's probably not even 5%, maybe even less, guitarists economy pick successfully. For the rest of us, alternate picking is where it's at. Now, that doesn't mean you never economy pick, or sweep pick for that matter, which is kind of a variation of the same technique. There are times for it that are good. Let's say I'm just playing a regular, the pentatonic, famous, box pattern. I call it position 1 right here. If you're not familiar with that position, it's extremely common. You can look it up just about anywhere and find out how to play it. In the key of A minor, it would be fret 5 and 8, 5 7, 5 7, 5 7, 5 8, 5 8. It's a very common position used in blues and rock and all kinds of things. Sometimes when I'm playing the pentatonic scale in blues or rock, sometimes I'll want to do some things that are really quick. Now, alternate picking, like I said, 95% of the time is going to be fine for everything I want to do. But there is the occasional lick where it makes sense to economy pick. So I'll give you one example, and I'll explain why it makes sense. So let's say you want to go. So that's the G string on the 7th fret, B string on the 5th fret, and B string again on the 8th fret. Pull off, back to the 7th fret on the G string. If I wanted to play that over and over and over really fast, I would economy pick that. And the reason why is because it is one note on the G string and then followed by a note on the B string. Now if I alternate pick that, that's definitely an option. I mean, that's something I can do. But if I economy pick it and throw in that pull off, now I can get some really serious speed going. So I can go downstroke, down, again, 2 downstrokes in a row, up, pull off, down, down, up, pull off, down, down, up, pull off. Let me show you my right hand a little bit there. So, down, down, up, pull off. It would be really hard for me to alternate pick it that fast, and even if I did, it'd be a lot more effort. So you can see there's times where I do economy pick, and that's one of them. That riff played over and over and over. It just makes sense to economy pick it. Now, if that riff were just part of a longer lick, and it was only played once, not over and over and over like that, I wouldn't economy pick it. I don't think I would just alternate pick it along with the rest of the section. But it's when it's over and over and over really fast, I will economy pick that. So that's one example. Another example is you've probably seen people sweep picking. It's probably something I should do a whole other video about because it's such a it's kind of a complicated technique that takes a lot of work and a lot of discussion. But you've probably at least seen it done before. It's the idea of playing an arpeggio, which is the notes of a chord played one at a time, over usually one note per string, or a lot of times it's one note per string, so it'll be like. That's an example of a C major arpeggio. So that's another case where it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me to alternate pick that unless I'm playing it slow. I mean, if I'm just playing it in a passage like. If I'm just doing some stuff like that, I'm going to alternate pick it. But if I need to really like. If I need to get a little bit of speed on it, I will what's called sweep pick it, which basically is kind of a form of economy picking. So since there's one note per string, instead of trying to alternate pick all that, I can just go down, 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 up, pull off, up, up, up. Now that's a technique that takes a long time, and like I said, I'll probably do another video on that and talk about that technique specifically. But that's another example of when I would not alternate pick. If I wanted to play an arpeggio, one note per string, very quickly, it makes sense to just go down, 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 up, 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 up with the pick without trying to go, alternate pick the whole thing. That's a great picking exercise. I would definitely alternate pick arpeggios as an alternate picking exercise, but if you really want to get some speed on it, it would make sense to actually sweep pick it. So I think that's about it. One thing I will leave you with, though, is in some of the comments talking about alternate picking and how people are finding it challenging, there is one riff actually that's excellent for working on your alternate picking as a lesson, or as a exercise, I should say. And that is Guns N' Roses' "Sweet Child of Mine," the intro melody. Whether you like them or not, I think they're okay. I'll just leave it at that. They're all right. But it doesn't really matter if you like them or not. The point is that it's a great exercise, the beginning of that song. And it's a song that most people know, or at least they recognize it when they hear it. I mean, it got a lot of airtime or whatever. So, it's something like this. Alright, so that alternate picked is the proper way to play that, in my opinion. And it's tempting not to, because there's a lot of string skipping in that. Now, I'm going to put a link in the description to some tablature for that intro. And like I said, regardless of whether you like the song or not, I think it's really worth learning that intro. It's kind of a pentatonic sort of thing going on. However, he does add that F sharp in there to make it more of like a 6-note kind of scale. But get focused on my right hand here for the beginning of that. So I'll play it really slow, and you can see that even though there's a lot of string skipping going on, I'm alternate picking the whole thing. Right? So I would recommend learning that intro. Play it as with everything in guitar. Play it slow. So slow that you can play it perfectly without a lot of effort, and without messing it up too often. And alternate pick the whole thing. Start with a downstroke and then an upstroke, then down, then up, and just, if you have to, watch your right hand and make sure it's always down, up, down, up, down, up. There's never, ever any time when you're doing 2 downstrokes in a row or 2 upstrokes in a row. Just back and forth, always. And that's a challenging intro, actually, to that song. That melody is not easy to play. It may not sound that bad until you actually sit down and start working on it. And if your alternate picking isn't very good, it's going to bring that weakness out. It's going to show it. But that's good, right? That's what you want. You want to expose your weaknesses so that you can work on them. So I would highly recommend working on that intro. It's something fun to do as an exercise that isn't just mindless chromatic scales or something. It's actually like music. It's a song. And that's always more fun to practice than just some, exercise that isn't even musical sounding. So anyway, I hope that was helpful, everyone. I hope I answered most, if not all, of those questions. And if you have any more, feel free to let me know. Just leave a comment, and I'll see if I can help you out, all right? And don't forget, I teach guitar lessons here in Tucson, Arizona, but I also teach all over the world through Skype, FaceTime, Google Video Chat. There's all kinds of different video programs that can be used. So go to my website. It's www.soundtheorystudio.com. And there's a lot of information on there. There's some free, some videos and music, and there's some free, I think there's a backing track or two on there. There's some reference materials you can download to help with your music theory studies. And I also wrote a book on music theory last year that's available for download on the site. And you can also order a hard copy of that as well if you'd like. So yeah, check it out. And if you'd like video lessons online, it's a lot of fun. They're just one-on-one video lessons, kind of like this one, only we get to communicate back and forth. So yeah, I hope you'll think about that. And yeah, like I said, if you have any more questions, just leave them in the comments or shoot me an email through the website. Take care, guys. Thanks a lot for watching and for your support. Always very much appreciated. All right, take care. Thanks.